Legal loss for the president tonight. A federal appeals court upholding writer E. Jean Carroll's $83.3 million judgment against Trump. The court rejecting the Trump legal team argument that he was protected by presidential immunity. Back in January of 2024, Trump was found liable of defaming the writer's reputation when he denied her rape claim. Joining us now is NBC News legal analyst and a good friend of Top Story, Misty Marris. Misty, so great to see you. I guess my first question is, does the president have another chance, or is this it?
Well, it's going to go to the Supreme Court, Tom, or at least that's what the president is going to ask. Because this is a typical civil case. Obviously, it was unusual because it involved Donald Trump. But it's not the type of legal issues that you generally see go to the Supreme Court, except the immunity decision. Remember, landmark decision in 2024 came out, identified where presidential immunity applies, and that's an open question as far as what it means for civil cases for a president.
What do you think is going to happen? Do you have any idea in the Supreme Court?
Well, I think the Supreme Court...
Will they take it up first?
I think there's a likelihood that they will take it up because of that very issue. Remember, this relates back to some tweets. He was the president. It was 2019. And those could fall into one of those buckets. Certainly not an official act, but remember, there's an intermediate bucket, perimeter activity, as well as personal conduct, which would not have any immunity. So whether or not the Supreme Court takes it up, it would absolutely be a novel issue.
Remind our viewers, $83 million, that's a big sum of money. You know the president's going to be monitoring this and following this as well. Do we know why the damages were so high?
So $83 million is absolutely a tremendous amount of money, and it's broken down into two buckets. One is punitive damages, punishment, $65 million, and then 18.3 was for compensatory. That's to make someone who was harmed whole. Now, generally, these types of awards, they're challenged at appeal, and that's what we saw here. He wanted to knock that down, to reduce it. But the court upheld it, and they went and looked at his conduct, and they said it was particularly egregious, and they upheld that punitive damages award. The rule of thumb, Tom, is 3 times a compensatory award is generally upheld. I won't make you do the math on the spot. This is about 3.6, so it's on that high side. There was an argument that it was unconstitutional, but the court looked at the conduct and said, this is the type of conduct that warrants that award.
And the kind of language that he used during the court case and afterwards, basically saying she's too unattractive for him to have done anything to her, what she was claiming. Did the appeals court also look at that language? I mean, was that factored into their decision?
It was, and that was exactly what the appeals court looked at to say whether or not this is the type of case that warrants an award of that magnitude for those punishment damages, Tom, because that's what punitive damages are. They're for punishment, and there are factors that the court is going to look at to say whether or not that board is unconstitutional.
How long do we know till the Supreme Court may take this up? How long? Because the longer they have to wait, right, the president doesn't have to pay out E. Jean Carroll.
Right. So now Carroll won. Remember, there's 2 E. Jean Carroll cases.
Right.
That one also was up on appeal. He was not successful. $5 million award on that one. Still waiting to see if the Supreme Court will take it up. Now that this one has gone through the next steps of the appellate process, I imagine they're going to take up both or none. And so we'll see what happens.
And we'll know that in the coming weeks, or I mean, not weeks,
but months.
Could take
longer. Yeah, could take longer.
Okay, Misty, so great to have you on. Always good to see you.
Tom.
Thank you.